Hi, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Rectified podcast. My guest today is Nicolas Beaupre, the founder of Mateina, and he's going to tell us all about his brand and the crazy adventure he's on with his business. Welcome, Nicolas.
Thank you for having me. Definitely happy to connect with you today and for pronouncing Mateina so perfectly. Like we hear so much variance of the name
Mm,
of the brand, so you absolutely nailed it on
yeah.
the first one.
Well,
Well
well the,
done.
f- the first time I knew about Maté was actually in Lebanon. I used to live in Lebanon, and we had a neighbor. There's actually a small village in Lebanon where there's a very specific community, and they always drink mate. And it's like their thing. And they all have like these small cups made of wood with like the straw. And it's always like with them all the time. And we had a neighbor who knew about that, and he had brought this, tea. I think it's some sort of tea. He brought it and the cup and everything, and he used to always drink it. And that's how I know about this since I was a child. But I thought it's only there. I didn't think like other people know about it. So tell me, how did you find out about this thing, this tea, I guess?
No, or yeah, that would be my pleasure. But quick side note on
Yes.
Lebanon, that's so funny because there's several countries in the Middle East that kind of really brought the culture of mate in, which is surprising. Like you expect
Mm,
to see like people in the street only in South America, but I think Lebanon,
yeah.
Syria are have brought it in their
Mm-hmm.
culture, and they're drinking it from the gourd. And this is
Exactly. Yeah.
super interesting. I didn't find out about mate in the Middle East. It was in South America. Obviously, the only other place where mate is part of the daily routine and consumed probably even more than coffee in some countries. But it started actually as a love for languages. I
Mm,
started this project back in 2017 with my partner in life and partner in business, LD. I've been with her for over 10 years now, but in 2016, like I said, I was in love with languages. Speaking perfect Spanish was my next goal. So I was like, okay, I just have this crazy idea. I'm gonna go spend a couple months in South America and go give ski classes on a ski resort in Chile or Argentina.
mm-hmm.
And so took my decision. I told Ellie, my partner, obviously, you can't come with me like for the full trip. Otherwise, we're gonna speak French the whole time.
Yeah.
French being our first language. But so she agreed to let me go, and I sent my resume to all ski resorts in Argentina, Chile. Got a few answers, but found something very interesting on a small volcano called Antuco in southern Chile, and I was off to the Andes Mountain on June 2016. Really didn't know what I was expecting. I landed. I must say I was completely out of my comfort zone, and the Spanish that Chilean were
Mm-hmm.
speaking in the south specifically was not the same Spanish that
No.
I used to practice in university classes or Duolingo, for example.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a big shock landing there in the middle of the mountains in the snow in June. But after the first days over there, I was introduced to Yerba Mate from Argentine friends working on the resort, and it looked very like looks so different, so kind of unique. When I saw it, I was like, okay, it looks kind of weird. Looks like when you drink it the traditional way, it looks like a bong almost. So
Mm-hmm.
some
Yeah.
but tried it for
Exactly.
the first time. Didn't like the taste, to be super transparent. Like mate is definitely bitter. It's definitely an
Mm-hmm.
acquired taste. So I wasn't like, oh my god, this is the best tasting drink. But after trying it a couple of times, I understood the ritual. I understood, appreciated that all the preparation and sharing it with the people, but also really, really enjoyed the effects. I think mate provides such a unique source of energy. I used to drink up to 6 cups of coffee in university.
Whoa.
So
Yeah.
Always been a caffeine enthusiast, but mate really, really gave me something different, much of a
Mm-hmm.
stronger like focus, mental clarity. And when, so yeah, I literally started to drink mate every day. I got my kit and everywhere. I met with Elodie during this trip. The agreement was to meet in Peru and go spend a month over there. So we met in Lima, and I was like, "Look at this new drink that I found. It's so nice.
Mm-hmm.
The effect you get from it." She also fell in love very quickly with mate, and at this point, we kind of became mate enthusiasts, and went back to Chile. And just a couple months after we were back in Canada, I was back in my regular like land surveying. I was in the land surveying uh,
Okay.
geomatic field, so totally different. But I was drinking mate every day, sharing it with the people, with my friends. And one day I was like, I always had a little interest in design, marketing, creating a branding. And I was had the idea of just launching an e-commerce at some point. A couple of months after, I was like, I want to sell stuff online. I want a little sideline. So started to work on an e-commerce, and naturally, by this time, I became like the mate, I would say the unofficial mate dealer of my friends and family,
Yeah.
because I was the only one that like knew
Yeah.
where to buy it. So I was like, why wouldn't I sell this product that I love, that I share with people, and that's super hard to find? So
Mm-hmm.
this is when I created the first like version of Mateina that was called Mate Boutique. That was an e-commerce selling mostly Argentine brands
Okay.
that we bought from importers. But very, very quickly, seeing the success, the momentum of this first project, I was like, we need to create our own brand. This is something that needs so much education. Nobody, or very, very small percentage of people
Yeah.
know about mate in North America. So this is going to be a grind. This is going to be a long journey. So we need to create our own brand, create new products with our own flavors, and really bring the best possible quality.
Mm-hmm.
So by this time, decided let's go back in South America, meet with some suppliers, some farmers to find a reliable source. I wanted to find organic, fair trade, air dried, like the best possible quality. So I met with during this second trip, I met with several farmers in Misiones Corrientes, which is the region of Argentina where mate mainly grows. And I met the farming family that we still work with today. They really, really believed in the vision. They loved the branding, so they literally agreed to lend us our first like 5 pallets of organic Mateina, and this is when kind of today's
Mm.
project saw life, and when we
Yeah.
launched the real Mateina.
Yeah.
Um, and then
Pretty
so many
amazing.
things
Yeah.
happened after that, but I
Yes.
feel this is going to be a very, very long
Very,
story.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Why did you think, like, it's very intriguing. I was thinking about this, like, it's like this product is known to be like a tea, more like a tea. You're already drinking it. It's a tea, and then you decided to put it in a can, like ready to drink,
Yeah.
like from the fridge or whatever. Why did you think that? Like, how did you decide that this is how you're gonna sell it?
So for almost a full year, we sold exclusively loose leaf yerba mate. And
Mm-hmm.
as we said, this is an acquired taste. This is definitely like, that wouldn't be like realistic to think that everybody's gonna start to drink mate from a gourd in North America. People have
Yeah,
a
yeah,
particular taste here.
yeah.
So we knew at the beginning that we needed something a little more accessible. But this is mainly by we were starting to do some sports events, some sampling activations during the summer, warm weather. So I was like, we can't sample the hot mate, we
Mm,
need a cold version. So this is where I got like a small brewery kit, and started to make my own batches of cold brewed yerba mate, adding lemon juice, maple syrup, some funny ingredients like
yeah.
that. And I perfectioned these recipes, and people really, really loved. the cold version. And then during the demo, it was just like, okay, I prefer this. How can I make this exact same recipe at home? So the idea of
Yeah.
making a ready to drink came. This is a totally different kind of operation to make a ready to drink product
Yeah.
than just selling dry leaves.
Exactly.
So this took almost a year. I had some very, very specific benchmarks that I wanted to respect. So like very, very low sugar. I wanted to be under 10 grams of sugar. I wanted to be non-carbonated, which is
Mm-hmm.
kind of different than what we're seeing on the market.
Yeah.
This brings some extra challenges to not use regular CO2 in a drink. And I wanted the drink to be very clean, no additive, no like only real natural ingredients, to be shelf stable. Well, many, many challenges. So this took almost a year, but in December 2019, we finally launched this line, and this is really brought the business to another level and kind of opened it to a much
Yeah.
more broader audience
Yeah.
than just the leaves.
I'm seeing it everywhere. Mostly Avril, like here if they're in Quebec. I
Yes.
don't know
Of
in other places, but I'm noticing because every time I see a brand and then I start noticing it even more.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's
That's
that's what's happening to me. So now every single brand I have on the podcast, like I keep seeing the brands everywhere I go, especially that they're mostly like supermarket items, like things you find
yeah.
in stores. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. So when are you gonna make more sugar-free flavors? Because that's what the one I like.
Yeah, that's the lemon zero is
Yeah,
your
that's
favorite
my
one.
favorite. Yes, exactly.
That's a very good question, and maybe I can tell a little story on
Yes.
how we kind of what
Yes.
kickstarted this zero sugar, because I've always been a fan of little like very small amount of sugar, but not zero.
Mm-hmm.
I always tended to stay away from stevia and sweeteners like that
Yeah.
because I didn't like them. But in last year, actually, we were growing and we were discussing with different potential partners to finance the growth of the business. And I got an email from Tiny, which is a venture fund based in Western Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And they reached out and said, "We love the brand. We love what you're doing at Mateina. We'd love to invest and partner with a Mate company, and we love what you do. We have this project with another partner that's based in the U.S., and they're one of the most influential podcasts in North
Yeah.
America and
Tell
in the
me about
world.
that. That's what I wanted to
So
ask you about. Tell me
so
about that.
they got my interest at this point,
Mm-hmm.
and I flew to British Columbia and had a meeting with them to find very, very like-minded people, very relaxed, much more uh, aligned with what I was looking for, because I've been discussing with other potential partners by this point. So really easily connected with those guys, and they shared that this person that they were discussing with was Andrew Huberman, which is also long time mate drinker and
Yeah.
Argentine roots. So it made so much sense to me. I was already a big fan of the podcast before hearing about this, so definitely was interested. This took a couple of months to kind of unfold and agree on everything. And we officially signed a deal with them in July 2023. And
Okay.
their vision was, let's launch this business in the US. That's a no brainer. Definitely agreed with that. Launching e-commerce exclusively first, and they also had the vision to launch a zero sugar formula,
Mm-hmm.
because Andrew is definitely make, being super careful about this. So we got to work. We met a couple of times in Malibu with their team and Andrew, and started working on formulation of the zero sugar flavor that we launched.
Mm-hmm.
So got to work on that, and we got a very, very hectic 6 months, very busy of preparing this launch, preparing this new flavor, opening a new co-packing facility,
Yeah.
a lot of steps that are required to launch a business in another country. And we successfully launched in at the end of January of this year, January 2024. And business like this was received extremely well. The zero lemon zero is
Yeah.
actually quickly became our bestseller,
Yes.
and
It
this partnership
it's the
is as
zero
just
sugar, I
yeah,
think.
exactly. And this partnership has been an amazing success so
Yeah.
far. Extremely satisfied, and Andrew, I think, has a strong voice in the space, and he definitely knows what he's
Mm-hmm.
talking about in terms of Yerba Mate as well. So it just
Yeah.
created this perfect kind of environment, and we're extremely happy
Mm-hmm.
and excited about what's ahead with this partnership.
Yeah. So tell me about Andrew Huberman. So he invests in these companies, but is he like really hands on? So you met with him a couple of times, you decided that you want zero sugar, but does he interfere a lot in the process? And does he promote these brands that he invests in, including yours? Does he talk about them? This is how people find out about you. Like, how does it work?
So I am not aware of other investments or other
Mm-hmm.
project on how the level of involvement. But in for Mateina, I would say that, and this was clarified right at the beginning, we are completely hands-on,
Yeah.
and all external partners are they participate in the strategic development of new products, and definitely assist in many things. But Mateina, like me, myself, and Elodie,
Mm-hmm.
it's like internally in the day-to-day operation, nothing has really changed, or
Yeah. Yeah.
it's mainly for support and strategic development. And in terms of advertisement, Andrew is definitely focused on, I think, sharing the knowledge and some tips and protocols about science, and really focused
Mm-hmm.
on his thing. So I think they're just by drinking the product on the day-to-day basis, having it goes a long way.
Yeah.
So there, even if there's no like direct, like real strong promotion on a
Mm-hmm.
daily basis, there's many things that we're executing. We're also a sponsor of the Huberman Lab podcast, so
Yeah.
there's definitely this is a good opportunity
Yeah.
of talking about, sharing about Mateina and benefits,
Mm-hmm.
etc.
Exactly. So mainly what contributed, if somebody, is new and they're like, oh my God, I wish I have what Nicolas has, something like that. What do you advise them? Like, did this collaboration with the venture fund and Uberman, the two groups that invested with you, is this what made your company grow? Or do you think that it was doing fine and now it just took it to another level?
I think everyone have to be realistic in terms of expectation, and that I probably didn't know as much when I kind of started this
Mm-hmm.
project. But every brand, especially in the food and beverage space, we are in one of the most competitive category. We're in the
Yeah.
functional slash energizing beverage, so this is a very, very strong competitive category. So brands, regardless if their products are good, their products or mission are good or not, they're gonna need millions of dollars if they want to make some noise and make it on the market, especially the retail space.
Yeah.
In the US, it's such an interesting market, such a big market. But if you don't like the reality, I think from my point of view, with a beverage brand, if you don't have 5 to 10 million to invest in marketing
Mm,
on your first year when
yeah.
entering this market, at minimum, you're really gonna have a hard time making some noise and kind of successfully putting the brand out there. So I think from the beginning, I'm like everyone that knows me very well know how passionate I am about designing product, creating
Mm-hmm.
recipes, going into the very small details. So I think we have a very good product that I worked on for a very long time. People appreciate our products. We had an amazing volume in Canada before
Yeah.
launching in the US.
Yeah.
And we even saw this category grow after we got into the
Yeah.
market in 2017. Other amazing brands that launched their products, so that was very good for the yerba mate, or I would say like
Mm-hmm.
clean infusion, functional infusion category. So I think we really made a difference in Canada. We had a successful volume. We have some amazing customers that have been super loyal to us, that have been subscribed and drinking our products every day, and especially in Quebec,
Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah.
Um, so I think we just matched a very good product and a strong team,
Yeah.
and we just matched that with an incredible channel of brand awareness, and this just created
Mm-hmm.
a success. And I think what Huberman's team and Tiny saw in us was that as well, is that by teaming up,
Mm-hmm.
we can make great things. We know that our products are, people appreciate them, and we can see that just in the retention rate, the amount of time that the same people buy
Yeah.
our products.
Yeah.
So we kind of went from this small growing Canadian brand and just unlocked like a totally new world of opportunity in the US.
Yeah.
And by having someone that has such a strong voice as Andrew and knowledge, we we're able to speak to such a greater pool of people,
Mm-hmm.
and we kind of
Yeah.
can make, because before this opportunity, if you would have asked me like, are you planning on going into the US market, I would probably have said like yes, but not before another 5 years
Yeah.
minimum. But
Yeah.
now, like, having this
Mm-hmm.
partnership alive just justify.
Yeah. And you need a lot of money, and also you need the network within the US. Like, it's not easy to go to another country, like, let alone, like, Canada's already big, and you need to know everybody. And just like at the beginning, I'm pretty sure you had difficult time just thinking about how to get into this store or how to contact this other person, right? Like at the beginning, you don't know what you're doing and you're lost. And do I sell online? Do I go to a store? Like, I'm pretty sure you went through all of that.
Yes, but I'm so glad that we got this period, because you're absolutely right. You start and you have no idea what to do, especially in this space. Nobody, if you're lucky and you bring some partners that know what they're doing, you can have this
Yeah.
solution. But in our case, I had to figure it out myself. Like, how
Mm-hmm.
do I make a canned beverage? And you just starting to call some people, you send some emails, and then you get a little bit of information, and you kind of build your puzzle from there. And
Mm-hmm.
now it's all, like you said, connections, general knowledge, and you know who to call. And always say that if I would start another business tomorrow, I would probably save a year and a half
Yeah,
just
for
in
sure.
executing everything.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we got this first 5 years of trial and error, like lots of
Mm-hmm.
learning in
Mm-hmm.
Canada on a smaller scale. And I feel that now, okay, we jump into this massive market in the US, but we know
Yeah,
what we're doing. We know what to avoid. We know how
exactly.
to look for the right partners for storage, for production,
Mm-hmm.
for raw materials. So I feel that we kind of graduated, and we're kind of ready for the next big phase of
Mm-hmm.
Mateina. And we all know that those small mistakes that you make when you're a small brand, that you can easily get away with, because we're just talking a couple
Yeah.
$1,000. When you do that on a bigger scale with much bigger clients, with much bigger productions, if you fail at this point, it can cost
It's
you your
yeah,
business.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So
Previously, I believe it was the beginning of this year or sometime towards the end of the previous year, but we had Jake Carls from Midday Squares, and
yeah.
they have an interesting strategy. Like, they always talk about it, but I talked about it also with them on the podcast, and it was they document every single thing. Like every time they lose money, every time they make money, every time they fail. We don't see that with other brands. We don't see that with you too. How, like, what strategy do you use to reach the people that you wish, like, you know who your audience is, you know what kind of people buy your product. So what do you do to reach them?
I think every brand must have its own strategy, and anything like every single brand is so different. So the
Yeah.
marketing strategy, I think the Midday Squares did such an amazing job in kind of creating their own kind of way of doing that. And I think
A
this
little
is
bit like a reality show, let's say,
exactly,
something
exactly.
like
This is the
that.
first time that we're seeing this kind
Yeah.
of content coming out of a CPG brand.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in their way, they absolutely nailed it. And every brand needs to do his own thing. For us,
Exactly.
it always been kind of there's something so strong that you find about yerba mate when you're in South America and you're in the culture and sharing it with the people down there. I think the vision since day one was to share like the lifestyle that come with yerba mate, like
Yeah.
the way of doing things in those countries in South America, the way of sharing the mate, spending a good time with your people. So I think always sharing this lifestyle and kind of bringing it with us with the brand and sharing it on social media, educating also is as
Mm.
always have been like such a strong part
Yeah.
of our marketing, because obviously people the
They
must
don't know.
like the vast
Yeah.
majority of people have never heard of it. So we're kind of bringing a new product on the market, a new category, and we really don't want to just say, "Oh, this is yerba mate, and yerba mate
Mm-hmm.
comes in a can, and this is a drink. This is Mateina." No, we share yerba mate as a plant, as a whole, as a culture. So this is why loose leaf yerba mate always have also have been a big part of our product selection. This is how
Yeah.
actually the brand started. You want to share yerba mate as a whole, and not trying to make something different with it. So sharing the genuine experience, the
Yeah.
genuine culture, and all aspects of yerba mate always have been super important. And if you look at our marketing, it's hard to kind of put a single word on that. But
Mm-hmm.
this is how we're navigating. We're just passionate about mate, and we want to share it with the
Yeah.
world.
It's the community,
The
sense of
community, exactly.
community, and the rituals and all of this. I
Yeah,
can I can imagine, like, I don't know, I've never been there, but I can imagine like they get together and then they drink this beverage together and
exactly. And
yeah.
it's just such a it's a people drink, and it's like when you get into to someone's house in South America, the first question they'll
Mm-hmm.
ask is "Unos mates?" Let's drink some mate, and this is so present, and this is such like a this is a drink that connects people together, and it's so funny to say that because just for us, for me and Elodie, my partner, since the beginning, mate has been such a huge kind of driver for connecting and meeting new
Yeah.
people. And you just walk in the street, and if you're drinking traditional mate with a gourd and a bombilla, the straw, people like they
Mm.
see each other and, oh, you're
Yeah.
drinking mate, and then you start
Yeah.
talking with some people, and
Mm-hmm.
especially in Europe where you see it
Yeah.
more commonly in the street, we met so many people. And I think because it's still kind of a growing category, people that drink it connect with each other.
Yeah.
So that it's hard
It's
to
a
explain,
small
but
group. Yeah,
there's
yeah.
some things going on with
Mm-hmm.
something very special with mate.
Yeah. Yeah. Like now you're telling the stories and I'm imagining, the community and the people, and it's a very I'm pretty sure it's a very small group of people. It's very niche. Like it's not Coca-Cola or something where everybody's
It is.
drinking it. It's
It
very
is.
like niche still for, I mean, it might grow, but I kind of like the idea of community because this is what we lack nowadays. Like everybody's on their phones and nobody says hi, and you're like
Yeah.
running around all the time. So I really love this. Let
and
me,
and
yeah,
and
go
if I
ahead.
can quickly add, like definitely mate in traditional way will always be niche in my opinion. But what we're doing with the different products,
Mm-hmm.
is kind of, we know that mate is such a healthy beverage and clean and provides the best energy. So what we're doing with our ready to drinks, our cans, and some powder sticks is kind of offering different varieties and many ways of enjoying the benefits and the energy from yerba mate. And these are not like absolutely invented. For example, the drink that we sell in our can, it's another variation that's
Yeah.
also enjoyed in some other parts of South America. For example, in Brazil,
Mm-hmm.
I this is something like iced tea made with yerba mate is something that they enjoy every day.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
there's definitely
Yeah.
so many ways to enjoy it.
Exactly. So for the people who are listening to us and they don't have, I mean, they're just starting and they're dreaming, they want to be like this big brand. Yes, they need $10 million or $50 million to grow, but like at the beginning, when it's difficult and you're still trying to figure things out, what do you tell them? Like, what's the number one advice that you give to someone who just wants to start with a new brand?
Yes, and like you said, you don't absolutely don't need $5 million to get started. But I think the most important thing, and this literally like is from my genuine experience, is when you have an idea, when you want to start something, just take an action on
Mm-hmm.
it. Because I think there's so many ideas out there and people wanting to start something, but the lack of action can just kill every single project. And I think it happened with me so many times before starting Mateina. I've always had like a big list of crazy ideas, like, okay, we should
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like make like a crazy ad, like make a couch, a type of couch with like some special features with this name and brand names. I had so many ideas, but Matina is actually the first one that I took action on it. And that
Mm-hmm.
action can be as simple as sending an email to a supplier or taking a note. Like,
Yeah.
just take a simple action that just starts
Yeah.
a process, and then you take another
Just
one.
start.
And yes, and
Yeah.
and for me, that's exactly like, if you would have told me that things would have become what they are today back then, when it was just like this little side project, I wouldn't have believed it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy how one thing can bring another, and momentum can build at an exponential rate.
Yeah.
It gets
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
crazy pretty fast.
One last question before we wrap this up, and I'm really always interested in this as an entrepreneur. There are days where you're like discouraged or something, like you're trying, and nothing is working, and then you keep pushing through. What do you do to like be able to continue doing what you're doing and eventually, get past those obstacles or whatever it is that's happening with you?
I think I'm not going to answer the question directly, but I
Mm-hmm.
think it's important that we all know that days like this where we haven't slept enough or
Yeah.
whatever. But if it's this is like repetitive, and your project or a specific thing you're trying to achieve is not working, you should always ask yourself, like, what's causing this pain point? What's not working? Like, what's the root of it?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I should change something. I could do some modification on my products, or whatever. Like, what can I do to kind of change this and make this
Yeah.
better? And I think so many brands, and most of the big brands that we all know, started by doing something
Yeah.
else, and then
Exactly.
they pivoted their strategy. And this happened with us, like on a smaller scale, with rebrands. Or like, it's important to listen to the feedback to the customers, and just be willing to adjust. It's
Mm-hmm.
absolutely normal to just kill an
Yeah.
entire project or a branding or an ID and just start on something else totally different.
Exactly.
So I think this is something that you should ask yourself, if
Mm-hmm.
it's if things are not working out. And that usually helps a lot, and it gets you started
Yeah.
on another wave of momentum. And I've been fueled by momentum since day one on Mateina. Like, there's also something else coming in the next three to
Yeah.
six months. So we never have time to get bored. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know how I would feel if we would have like a year of no growth,
Yeah.
no new project, no product launch, no new partnership, no new distribution. So just always be charging and be kind of moving forward with new projects.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what's happening with us. We launched a line of sticks in October, and very soon, I can't tell you exactly when, but there's another even bigger
Awesome.
update
Yeah,
and kind
can't
of,
wait. Can't wait.
yeah,
We'll share it. We'll also share it with our audience. Let us know when
stay
you launch. Yeah, and I'll share it with everybody. Nicolas, tell us where we can find Mateina in Canada and in the US.
So, if you're in Quebec, because I assume most of the audience is coming from,
It's
or should
half
I
US,
should
half
I say,
Canada. Yeah.
in the rest of Canada, I would say Whole Foods is probably the easiest way to find us, and we are also available in up to 1,500, 2,000 independent stores in Ontario, Western Canada. In Quebec, we are available at IGA. We are available at Avril. You mentioned it.
Yeah.
Avril, actually, all of our products are available there. So not only the
Mm-hmm.
ready to drinks, but also the leaves. And the easiest way, though, to get Mateina at your door would be to order it on mateina.ca, and
Yeah.
using the promo code the Rectified Podcast 20 for
Ooh.
20% off
Yay.
would
Okay.
be the way to
Awesome.
go. We offer fast and free shipping all across Canada, and as I mentioned, Mateina started as an e-commerce company, so this will always be kind of the easiest way to connect with us and be able to try the full range of products that we
Mm-hmm.
offer.
And in the US, are you also available in Whole Foods and online? The same thing.
So in the US, we're available in again, e-commerce would be the easiest way to get the products.
Mm-hmm.
For the retail side, we're available at Erewhon, which is
Mm-hmm.
a chain based in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But for anyone outside of Los Angeles, the easiest way now is online. But again, stay tuned for more updates, because we'll
Awesome.
definitely be available to more locations.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. We're going to link to everything in the description of this podcast. Nicola, it was so nice to talk to you. Thank you for being a guest on this podcast. And to all the listeners, we'll be back next week with a new episode.